Lady Charmaine, and my guest today began his career at an early age in Hollywood. He has had many guest starring roles in shows like Moesha, ER, and Home Improvement. But his most notable roles were in the past as Tyreek in the hit show Sister Sister and his recurring role in the television show Girlfriends. And now you can catch him in the hit TV show Let's Stay Together, airing on BET. And he's here today to talk about being the host of the Ford Black College Quiz Show. I wanted to help me welcome Mr. Ronreaco Lee to the show. How you doing, Ronreaco?
I'm doing very well, Lady Charmaine. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm glad you're on the show today. I got a chance to talk to you on the BET celebration of gospel carpet a couple years ago, so I'm glad to have you. And that's when Let's Stay Together was just getting ready to air, so that was great.
Yes. It's funny, too. I just saw an advertisement for the celebration of gospel. I was like, man, I want to go back. I had such a good time. I met some amazing artists. I remember meeting Rance Allen, Andre Crouch, Kimber. For me, the celebration of gospel, I'll take it any day of the week. You can have the Soul Train, the Hip Hop Award, all that. Give me the celebration of gospel. That's just how I do it.
And the reason why that celebration of the gospel, I think, was very special, too, because that was the night that Whitney Houston sang, if you remember.
Oh, gosh, it was a guest. I think she sang with Kimber.
She sure did.
Yeah. And all surprised.
Yeah.
Sang with Kimber. I do remember it.
Yes.
And that's the only time that I was fortunate enough, blessed to see her live. And I remember I was with my wife, and every day we just went crazy because nobody knew. They really did a great job of keeping it a secret.
They did. We all went crazy, and that was my first time seeing her live, too. So that's why I remember meeting you. But, Ronreaco, I got to ask you, your name, Ronreaco, were you named after your father, Ronreaco?
Oh, I was not. My father's name is Jackie Wayne Lee. And my mother was not trying to name me Jackie. So, as the story has it, it's actually, and this is my mother's probably going to try to put me on punishment for telling the story. But she was actually reading, I believe it was an Ebony magazine, some magazine. They had a rum, a Bacardi rum. And it was Ronreaco Rum, and she really loved the name, so she took it. She kind of flipped the spelling a little bit, so I'm actually Reaco. And that's how I got my name. People always ask me, but there really is no crazy story. There was nobody, a great-granddaddy with the name Ronreaco. I'm not Spanish. It's just, people always ask me, man, you Latin? I'm like, no, that's just the name my mama chose, so I had to roll with it. But as a kid, I never liked it, believe it or not. I went by Rico. So to my family and friends growing up, I was always Rico. And then as I got older and I got into the business, I really started to embrace Ronreaco. And I love it. I love it. It is who I am. But, yeah, no, I'm not a junior. It's just Ronreaco Lee.
So we got all the drinks out there. We got the brandies, the Ronreacos, the Alizés.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's all right. But
I know.
You have been a pretty busy man. You are working on Let's Stay Together, so thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do the show. And you are the host of the brand new Ford Black College Quiz Show. How did you land that job?
Yeah. You know what? It was really one of those things where one of my wonderful friend of mine, and she's like my big sister, Angela McGee, who's a producer and writer on the show, was in a meeting. And my name just happened to come up, and she's like, "Oh, that's my brother. Like, we go way back." And they were like, "Would he be interested in doing it?" And she said, "Well, let me call him." So it really happened like that, and I was very interested in it. I had done some this type of stuff when I was younger, and I really enjoyed it. I did, as a kid, I think I hosted some stuff, and so I always really enjoyed it. So when the opportunity presented itself, and it's such a great. Just a great thing to be a part of, and I don't have enough of that on my resume. I was like, absolutely, if they're down to do it and they can work around my schedule, it was really a no-brainer for me.
And this is a business that's it's really not what you know, it's who you know, because thank God she knew you, and just when your name was brought up, and look at this opportunity.
Yeah, it's sad, and I always tell people that when they're trying to get into the business, I make it a point to let them know how important networking is and how important it is. You never know. You got to be nice and treat people right. First of all, you should do it anyway. But if you want to get in this business, because you never know who you'll be working for or working with one day. So it's very important to nurture any and every relationship, and not just for ulterior motives, but just to be a good person in general. but also, I've met people and randomly been working for those people, 2, 3, 4 years down the road. And I've always been very thankful that, when I met them previously, I was, who I always try to be. And that's just just a good person. But yes, in this case, it definitely was who I knew. And more times than not, it really has come down to having established a relationship with somebody prior.
Then that's good. Because one thing I like about the show, the Black College Quiz Show, I attended a black college. I went to Grambling State University. And I'm like, where was this show? And I went to college almost 25 years ago. But, I'm glad you have it now. So tell us about this show. I hear it's kind of like a Jeopardy. Is that true?
It is. And I tell you, I was a little intimidated at first because, you're around a tremendous, like a lot of very intelligent people. And not to say that I'm not. It's just that I see Jeopardy on TV. I turn the channel. I've definitely watched Black College Quiz previously. They've been on for 7 seasons, so I tried my luck. But it's like, hey, this is it. So when I got around them, it was amazing to be around all of these young, brilliant minds. That just their wealth of knowledge was just, I think the morning before the taping, they had like a last minute cram session in one of the classrooms at Spelman, and I popped in to say good morning to everybody and wish them all luck. And these kids weren't paying me any attention. They was like, yeah, whatever. We trying to win the scholarship money. And so I'm just like, just to watch their focus, it was an amazing, amazing experience. And everybody did a fantastic job. But a couple of those shows, it was really close. And I had to really check myself because I was like, Rico, you hear a host, but you get caught up in the moment, man. These kids going back and forth and the scores getting close. And so it was awesome. I can't wait to do it again.
Now tell us about some of your favorite moments on the show.
Well, the one I just shared was really, I hadn't thought about it until today, but the morning before, just watching all of them. The other thing, we had a banquet prior to the night before the show, and everybody was real shy and timid. A lot of people didn't even want to talk to me. We take some pictures or whatever. But I tell you, when the lights came on and I started asking them questions and the competitive, that competitive juices started going, them kids, I tell you, they came alive. And some of the shyest ones would be the most vocal. So I enjoy watching the transformation from, shy, never done this before to I want to win the scholarship money, so let me do whatever let me. They was going all in, and I also enjoyed the winners and the joy they had, the pride. We were right there in the middle of on Spelman's campus, and I think that was probably like my second or third time having gone to Spelman. But they really embraced us, and just to be a part of their family and the way they embraced the Black College Quiz Show was just great. It was a beautiful day. I want to say Morehouse was playing across the way, so we would get a little marching band music every now and then. So, it was just an awesome experience. So I had several favorite moments, but one in particular, there was a young lady who just had all kinds of personality. Her name was, I believe it was Mandy, and she was just a joy. And some of them I still remember. I keep in contact with on Twitter and various other social networking outlets. But I had a few. But my biggest one was seeing them before the competition really began, and then watching them throughout the competition and watching them do their thing.
And see, that's wonderful because one thing is, I love game shows, and one of my favorite game shows is the Family Feud. So I need a few people with me because I'm very competitive. My family, we're very competitive. You probably wouldn't know we were family, and so it's funny how, because I have one of my daughters, she's kind of shy, like you were talking about that girl, Mandy, but it's funny when you get her in competition, she's a whole nother kid. So I guess when you get a person in their element, probably, taking pictures with celebrities, probably wasn't their thing, but you get me out there and competing for this money, you're going to see a whole nother person. So that's great. I can't wait to watch the show. But I want to know, I heard that the show has a brand new format this year. So how is it different from last year?
They really tried to recon. The main thing they did is they took us. We went outside the studio. So obviously this is my first year. A lot of the changes were, the whole thing was new to me. So in terms of the changes that they went in regards to previous shows, they wanted to kind of give it a whole new feel, a new look. And so the main thing is that we took it and we actually put it right in the middle of the HBCU. And it presented some challenges, but it was really an amazing experience. Like I said, Morehouse was playing in the background, so we had their marching band. We would kind of hear it every now and then, when they scored. So you almost felt like you were back in school, and there was a game going on, and you had folks on the yard. And so they really wanted to give it that feel that you're just not going to get inside the studio. So I think the biggest look, people are flipping through the channels or they check their listings and they see when the show is airing, is that they're going to see we're outside, we're in the thick of things, and it just gives it an energy, I think, that I would imagine it didn't have before. You're outside, we had participants, we had students from Spelman, we had students from Morehouse all over come and actually sit in the audience that they had set up right there on the yard. So we just had a different energy, had a different flow, and I hope and pray it'll be noticeable. I think it will be because it was electric while we were there. So I can't help but to think that's going to translate onto the TV screen.
Now, were you anticipating having a band actually play in the background, or was that something that production really didn't think there was going to be a game going on and you just have to work around it?
We had to work around it, and so it presented a slight challenge. But I tell you, our director, Michael Johnson, he embraced it, and we actually incorporated it into a couple of the intros and a couple of the as we were kind of going to commercial. So we just rolled with it, and I think it's a testament to our director. And it was like, hey, we can't. It is what it is. We're on a college campus, and guess what? They're having a game today, and we hope they win. It was that kind of thing. But no, the band started playing. It's probably a couple takes where you could see me start to dance a little bit because I just was getting, it just was getting to me. So it was, we totally embraced and incorporated it into the show. And it was, like I say, you felt like it was, felt 18, 19 again. It was beautiful. I loved it.
So it was actually shot outside, in the elements, outside. Wow.
Outside,
so that's interesting.
Right there, yeah. It was great. I have some trouble. I don't have the best eyesight in the world, and if I don't have on eyeglasses, I definitely have my contacts on. So the challenge was just reading. There were certain times I had to be on a teleprompter. So it presented some challenges, but we all worked together to get through it, and it was really, it kind of took me a couple shows, but I felt like by the end of the show, I was ready to do another 4 or 5, and they were like, no, that's it, man, we done. And I was like, what? I just felt like, got my rhythm going, and but no, it was great shooting right there on Spelman. We had a good time.
And before we go, can you kind of tell us about some of the questions that the students had to answer? And some of the topics that were presented to the kids.
Oh, look at you challenging me.
Like do they talk about pop culture or Black history? What were
it really kind of ran. We had a lot of. I'm trying to think of some of the categories right off the top of my head. It ran pop culture, music. Let me see. Definitely entertainment. We had a lot of questions. I know there was a lot of questions about actors, prominent actors, and not just actors of this day, actors from back in the day. But it really was. It was, you name it. They had the kid. They were responsible for knowing a lot of different stuff, and like I say, from pop culture, music, entertainment. You name it, they had to be prepared, and they were. So, I was impressed. It was a couple categories, a couple questions. I'm like, I don't think anybody is going to get this. And no sooner as I got that thought out, somebody was pushing their buzzer with the correct answer.
Wow.
And I'm just like, y'all go ahead. I'm impressed.
That is awesome.
Get on it.
I know that people be able to catch it if they check their local listings on February the 24th. We want to make sure that everyone check your local listings. If people wanted more information and, about where the show's going to be airing, what cities, what website can they go to?
they can go to the Black College Quiz website. It's going to be www.blackcollegequiz.com.
Awesome. Well, Ronreaco, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. And you mentioned you had a Twitter. So before we go, if people wanted to follow you, what's your Twitter?
I am at Double R Lee, and that's going to be the word Double R Lee. Please follow me. Yeah, I'm going to get my followers up.
All right, now, well, let me follow. If I'm a tweet, I'm going to follow you on Twitter.
Oh, please, I'll follow you right back.
Awesome.
I'll follow you right back.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. It's a pleasure. We want to remind everyone to make sure you watch the Ford Black College Quiz. Check your local listings. I know it's going to be airing on February the 24th. And let's see who's going to be bringing home some of that scholarship money. Again, thank you so much, Ronreaco, for being on the show.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.